Hi, I'm Phyllis from the Doll Corner, and today I want to show you how I made Milo's little shirt. It's very easy to do, and I'm going to take it off and just show you how I made it. I've showed you in other videos how to make dresses and petticoats and panties and hats and all kinds of things, but never made a little doll shirt. So, this is my shirt, or Marlo's shirt. Excuse me. And this is my pattern that I drew, and I showed you how in a video how I drew a pattern for my dolls. As you know, every doll is a different shape and a different size. And that's the sleeve, and the front, and the back, and the collar. So I can cut them out. And I have it all stretched out here now. For the front, I took a piece of interfacing and interfaced this, turned it in, and stitched it down. It's the iron-on, so it's not going to go anywhere, but I still like to sew it in. So that's the back and the front. I mean the two fronts. And then I sewed the seams at the shoulder. And then my next step is the collar. Now I have cut two pieces of the fabric and one of the interfacing, but I made the interfacing 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way around. And you can see how I sewed it right along the edge of the interfacing. And at this mark, I made a little V. And I didn't bring the interfacing right up to the point of the collar. I cut it off here because this will fill in that corner and you don't want that extra bulk. A little V in there. And the same at this side. But before I sew this up, I have pressed this one side up 1/4 of an inch. And the other side, you can tell that it's down, it's hanging down, left it down. So now that this is down, I'm ready. I'll turn it inside out, or right side out. And this is my collar. And this is the long side. And I measured it in halved it, and put a mark right in the center back and the center front. And I'll pin it there. And then I will go to the center front. And put a pin in here. And then I can ease that. This seems coming apart a little bit, but that's okay. It's only for demonstration purposes. And hopefully it's the right distance. Sometimes if you take this shoulder sleeve seam that's a wee bit too deep or not quite enough, you'll get a little bit of extra fabric in there. If you do, if you start here and at the back here, if there was a little bit extra, you could make a little tuck in there and it wouldn't be noticed because it's under the collar at the back. And then I go to the other side and I line it up, and I do the same for that as well. It shouldn't be, but sometimes, you know, you're not quite exact with your cutting or your seams. And then I take, when I've got that sewn on, I just fold this over like this and stitch it along here. Like this. I just stitch it in here along here. And then I stitch right along here as well. That gives the interfacing a little bit of, it's not going anywhere then if it does come loose with washing or whatever. Depends on your interfacing. And now we have to go for the sleeve. Where's my sleeve? So my sleeve, I turned it under, turned it under and then turned it again. And this is about 3/4 of an inch for a little bit of a cuff. I line up, I have a little V here, you may not be able to see it, where the center of my sleeve is. I line that up with the center seam, the shoulder seam, and pin it there. And then with my ease stitching here, I like, when I start to sew this, I like to go on the inside of that, and that should give you a nice edge, no tucks or puckers, and just work your way down. Now this sleeve is a wee bit longer, and I think when I was cutting it, I made it a little bit longer than I should have. So I will just make sure I've got lots here, and then when I do get to the edge, I will just trim that little bit off. And then I go rather a little more than not quite enough, I always think. Then you go here, and work it down the same way. Making sure when you join up this seam at the top, they meet up even. Like when you start, go back here on the sew line and just come forward that way. And then when that is sewn in, see this side, now I haven't pressed this and I haven't taken the ease stitching out there, and I didn't get quite right there. But I just press that and it's going to come out fine when I press it. So then I turn it over. Line this up really even. And then go line up your underarm seam and sew down your side. And then you'll have it all sewn together. You still have to hem it. So just make a neat little hem along the bottom. You can serge it and turn it up once, but in this one I just turned it up and turned it again. And I sewed a little piece of Velcro. I take the soft side and bring it up and the rough side down. The reason for that is if a child is playing with this, it might scratch them or something because it is kind of rough. This way, the soft side is up, the other is down. And then I sewed some little buttons on, one under the collar. And that's his little shirt. Now we'll put it on. And if you watched last time, I forgot the button. I have it on there now. And I'd like you to subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram. Go back and check out some of my old videos. I appreciate all my subscribers. I share my videos. Leave me a comment. And I have fun in my corner, sewing corner. Oops. I think it has to come down a little bit. And there's Marlowe. I think he turned out pretty good. He's a cute doll. And this is an Apple Valley doll. And they're made in Michigan. And I live across Lake Huron from them. I enjoyed my dolls. And my next one is the little girl that her eyes were out. So this is what I was going to work with her. I have some scraps. So be sure and follow or subscribe. And thanks for watching. Bye now.